If you're listening to this program and you're thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not making $1 million. It doesn't matter. I've had people come up to me at my seminars and say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $40,000 a month. A year. I've also had people say, no, I'm stuck. I'm only making 400,000 a year. And I've had other people say, no, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making 4 million a year. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. I mean, one of my coaching clients right now runs a 9-figure business. That's over $100 million business. That's got a lot of zeros in it, right? A 9-figure business. And he hired me because he knew that he was holding himself back. So, I mean, my gosh, if people, with a 9-figure business realize they need help, that means that I think we can all use that type of coaching, that type of mentorship, right? To make sure that you're installing the proper system so that we get you to where you want to go.
Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Money and You Show. Today is an exciting day because I have a repeat guest, and I love that when I have somebody on multiple times, especially someone as energetic and prolific as this guest. He has written so many books and was on earlier with an earlier book, The 7-Figure Expert. He's now back with another book. He's written several in between there, but he has written Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money, and we're going to talk about that today because it's a great topic. This is a great thing to do at the very beginning of the year as you're getting ready to plan and launch into new things. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Dr. Noah St. John, who is known worldwide as the father of affirmations and creator of the 12-week breakthrough. Working with Hollywood celebrities, 7- and 8-figure company CEOs, and professional athletes, Dr. Noah is famous for helping entrepreneurs make more in just 12 weeks than they made in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back. He's also the #1 best-selling author of 26 books, including his new book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And you can get a free copy. If you're watching the video, you can see underneath Dr. Noah's picture, you can see send me a book, Noah.com. So welcome, Dr. Noah. So happy to have you back.
Great to be back, Michelle.
Yeah, I love this. I've loved our conversations. I actually believe you've been on twice before. And so it's thrilling to start the new year with you back here. It's really a treat. And I know these conversations have been so transformational because you are just so immersed in personal transformational work that when you start talking, it's almost like, you're delivering a TED Talk here. So I'm thrilled to have you back and can't wait to hear what you have to say. So where to start with that? There's so much. Why don't I just ask you, what have you been up to since the last time you were on, which I think was maybe a year ago? What's been happening with you?
Well, these last few years, as you mentioned, I have been very prolific. I published 4 or 5 books in the last year and a half, including my 7-figure series, which, last time we spoke, I had just published a book called The 7-Figure Expert. And now it's actually a 4-book series, which you can kind of see behind me here. Anyway, we have the 7-Figure Expert, 7-Figure Chiropractor, 7-Figure Machine, and 7-Figure Life, as well as the book we're talking about today, which is called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. So, anyway, I love writing books. I always wanted to be an author when I was growing up. When I was a kid, a lot of boys, they dream of being a baseball player, an astronaut, or a fireman. I wanted to be a writer. That's what I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be an author, and I was just listening to audio tapes Back in the day from Nightingale Conant, those great audio tapes from the classics like Earl Nightingale and Stephen Covey and, Dale Carnegie and all the rest. And that was my dream to be one of them, to be a teacher and to be a leader of people, to help people, to really help people get better results in their lives, their businesses, their relationships, their money. And, now, I'm living my dream life. My dream came true. And, I've got a beautiful home, beautiful wife. And, it's been a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It hasn't been a straight line to success, but, really get to help a lot of amazing people, get to talk to wonderful people like yourself. So it's really been a lot of fun.
Well, that's great. Thank you. I'm so impressed with people who can write like that, because a lot of us want to be writers. I have a couple of books in my head, which I've decided this year is going to be the year for at least one. And but it's not easy. It's not easy to find the time to get your thoughts. I mean, obviously you've figured this out, how to do it and how to execute on it. So,
well, not only that, because so many people like yourself have actually asked me about that. Now I have a book done for you service. So we actually help people get their books written and done. So you and I should talk about that. But anyway,
I know. I'd love to talk to you about it, because getting it done is a whole next level.
Yes.
So,
well,
yeah.
Like I said, a lot of people have asked me, Noah, how have you written 25 books? I mean, I can't even write one,
I know.
And it's like, well, it's a process. It's a system. So what I like to say, it's both a science and an art. There is a systematic approach. There is a methodology to it. But then, of course, it is about the art. So it's really putting those two things together. And that's why I launched the service, a book done for you service, because I really enjoy it so much, the process of writing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick story that I think you'll appreciate. When I was actually talking to a very, very big New York publisher many years ago, publishing one of my earlier books, I went into their offices, and it was a big boardroom with the president and all these vice presidents and everything. And, it was like a big, big meeting. And they said to me, Noah, we'd really love to publish your book. And we just, have a couple questions for you. And one of the questions they asked me was, would you like to have a ghostwriter? Because they told me that, many of our authors they don't actually write the books. They have ghostwriters that do it for them, and then they just slap their name on it, which is nothing wrong with that. But I said, yeah, sure. That sounds like a great idea. Just one condition. And they said, what? And I said, over my dead body. Because I love writing. I love the process of writing. It just makes me happy. And a lot of times I'm sitting here writing, and, I'll just start laughing. And my wife is in the other room, and she'll say, what are you laughing at? And I go, I just wrote something really funny. I'm cracking myself up. I'm like, I just wrote that, but it was funny. Anyway, so that's the process. It's really fun.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it's fun. I've heard a lot of authors. Oh, geez Louise. So sorry. That was my phone. Never do that. Okay. Maybe we can cut that piece out. And yeah. Okay. So I think that's great, because, a lot of authors don't sound like they have fun writing. I've heard a lot talk about the pain of it all and the process. So I think if you can help people to enjoy it, which I know it has to be enjoyable because enough people love writing. So, I really want to hear about this latest book, because I know the concept of head trash is something that we talked about earlier. So can you kind of let people know about that idea, and then how does your book expand on that?
Yes, absolutely. And so again, the title of the book that we're talking about here is called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And the subtitle is How to Avoid the 3 Big Money Mistakes Even Smart People Make. And so I realized a few years ago that I've written all these books, and I do online coaching and online courses, and I've been teaching this for a long time, 3 decades now. And it really all boils down to just a few simple but very, very powerful concepts. And this is one of the concepts that I think more people really need to know about, because one of the reasons is because it's holding so many people back from really reaching the level of success that they're perfectly capable of. And it's this term that I call head trash. All right. So for everybody listening to the program, I want you to do a few things. And this is one of the things that I do, exercises with my coaching clients, whether one-on-one coaching or group coaching. Like I have a program called the 12-week breakthrough where I help people make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months. And this is one of the exercises that we do. So for everyone listening, you can actually go along with me and do this right now. So for everybody listening, just think about your goals for a moment, right? Now, everybody talks about goals, right? We've heard this a million times. You got to set your goals, blah, blah, blah. We've heard that a million times, right? But number one, most people actually still haven't done it. Even though we've heard it a million times, many people still haven't actually set their goals, like written them down. They haven't written down their goals of what they really want. Number one. Number two, they're not very clear on their goals, right? So, a lot of people say to me, hey, Noah, I want to make more money. I'll say, okay, here's $5, go away. No, we've got to be a lot more clear than that. What do you really want? What does more money mean to you? Does that mean making an extra $10,000 a month in your business? Does it mean an extra $50,000, $100,000? What is it? What does that actually look like? Does it mean you want a promotion at work? Does it mean you want to start your own business or start a side hustle, whatever? You've got to be much more clear than I want to make more money or, I want to be rich. What does that really mean? All right. And by the way, we're not just talking about money, right? So make sure you write down what it is that you want, in your business, your career, but also your relationships, your health, your well-being, your peace of mind, and all those other things that aren't related necessarily to money. Okay, so it's very, very important that you get clear on all of those things, all right? But see, now here's the part that people don't realize. And people don't realize what happens after you set your goal, all right? So this is what most of the gurus will never tell you. The gurus will never tell you what I'm sharing with you right now, and that is what happens after you set a goal, all right? So let's take an example, talk about money, because it's an easy one to talk about. And you say, okay, Noah, I want to make an extra $10,000 a month in my business. Okay, great. So that's your goal. Now, here's where it gets very, very interesting. And that is what happens after you set that goal. Now, what I mean by that is after you set the goal, I want to make an extra $10,000 a month in my business. Do you know what happens for most people in their minds right after they set that goal? What happens for most people is they set the goal and then they go, yeah, I probably can't do it. I don't really have the time. I don't think I could do it. I don't have the money. I can't afford it. And what if my spouse doesn't support me? What if it's too hard? Oh, what if I try and it doesn't work out? What if I fail? You see what happens? So you see what you're doing is you're actually psyching yourself out before you actually even did anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so those are examples. Those examples I was just giving you are examples of what I call your head trash. Your head trash is the voice in your head that says, I can't do it because, oh, that's a great graphic. I love it. Your head trash. All right. That's exactly right. Because you're saying, I want X, but I can't do it because of Y. Yeah. Okay. And guess what happens with your head trash? You always make yourself right. You always make yourself right. So if you're saying, hey, Noah, I want to make more money, but I can't do it because I don't have the time. Hey, I want to grow my business, but I can't do it because I can't afford it. I don't have the money. I want to write a book, but I can't do it because I don't know where to start and I don't know what to do afterwards. And so, there's all these examples of people who set their goals, but then they just stop. And they stop because of this very thing that I've written 25 books about, which is your head trash, right? So that's a very, very simple but very powerful example of how so many people are, yes, even if they are setting their goals, they're unconsciously and unknowingly holding themselves back because of this very topic that I call your head trash, specifically about money.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great explanation. And, it gets so deep into your money mindset and your relationship with money. So it's so perfect for this show. So it all sounds good. Get rid of your head trash.
Right.
But because so much of this is unconscious, automatic thinking, how in the world do we really do this? And will we ever get it perfect?
Well, I love that question, Michelle. That's really, really good. I'll tackle the second part of the question first. Are we ever going to be perfect? And the answer is no, we're not. We're human, right? Look, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I admit it freely. I'm a huge Trekkie. I have been for, decades. I've been for many, many years, long before it was cool to be a Trekkie. Now it's very cool. But anyway, on Star Trek, the original series, of course, we had Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, right? We had the two polar opposites, the Kirk, who was the emotions and the big, guy, and he's getting into fights and all this great stuff. And then you had the cold and calculating Mr. Spock, it was all about logic, right? So we had emotions versus logic. And of course, this is continued throughout the series. You have Data, who's the android who wants to be more human, and so on and so on. All right, without going too far down the Star Trek rabbit hole, what's the point of the story? The point of the example is that we are human. We are always going to be driven by our emotions, all right? Not just up here in our brains, but, in our hearts, in our gut, right? Wherever you want to point to your emotions, wherever they are in your body, that's what we're driven by. We're not driven by logic. We're not driven by, A plus B equals C. No, that's never going to happen, right?
Right.
So what happens is with our emotions, that's why going back to what I was talking about a moment ago, I have this great goal, right? I want to make more money. I want to write a book. I want to grow my business. I want to start a business, whatever it might be. I want to lose weight. I want to have a happy marriage. So again, not just money, but everything. We have these great goals, but then it's our emotions that actually trip us up. Okay, so what I help people do is install a system that I call the Power Habit System. So it's really the power habits of unconsciously successful people. What I have realized over 30 years of study and implementation and coaching and helping people make over $3 billion collectively, meaning my clients have added 6, 7, 8, and even 9 figures using my system, my Power Habit System. What I came to realize over a number of years is that highly successful people are doing things unconsciously that they don't even know they're doing, number one, and therefore, number two, they can never teach it to you. So this is one of the reasons why so many people go to all these gurus, they go to all these seminars, they're running around going to all these seminars, and yet they keep hitting that income ceiling. They keep hitting, as I call it, an income ceiling, right? I'll give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. So I was talking with one of my coaching clients. Her name's Tamisa. She's great personality. She's just very bubbly, very vivacious. And she is a self-described seminar junkie, right? She was going to all these seminars. Maybe some people listening to this program can relate to that, right? You're going to all these seminars, running around, taking all these courses, maybe reading a lot of books, and you're a seminar junkie, right? And she was doing well in her business. She was doing 6 figures, so doing fine. But she kept hitting that income ceiling, and she could not break through no matter how many seminars she went to or how many self-help books she read. So then she decided to join my 12-week breakthrough program, where I show people how to actually install these systems, the unconscious habits, the power habits of unconsciously successful people. Well, do you know what happened? In the first 2 weeks, she tripled her investment. She tripled in 2 weeks, and we hadn't even gotten to the money part yet. So this was all talking about her inner game, all about talking about her head trash, and she never had anyone tell her, oh my gosh, number one, I didn't know I was holding myself back. Number two, I didn't know why I was holding myself back. Number three, I didn't know how to get out of that. All right, so just in 2 weeks, she tripled her investment. So you can watch her video and many, many other videos on our website. But the point is this. The point is that when you look at your goals, for everyone listening to this program, like I talked about a moment ago, when you're looking at your goals, one of the first things you need to do is say, okay, is that goal clear enough? Number one, is it really clear? Not just I want more money or, I want to be skinny, whatever that might look like. But is it very clear? Number one. Number two, what are my beliefs that I have about actually reaching that goal? And for most people out there, they're literally saying, oh, I want this, but I don't think I can do it because. And then I want you to fill in the blank, right? Like I said, this is exactly what we do in our coaching, right? This is one of the first places we start. What is your goal? Very important, yes, and maybe you've already set that, but what are you telling yourself about why you can't do it? And then, of course, we have to install the Power Habit System so that we can get you out of your own way so you can reach your goals 10 times faster and easier with far less stress and, frankly, far less effort.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. And I mean, one of the things I think, too, when people can't get super clear on what it is that they want, which is hard. I'm doing my own visioning for this year, and I'm finding it tough to get super clear. My mind goes all over, and, so... Okay, so that's one thing, is really getting clear. But I think when you have trouble with that, and you have these other messages in your head like, well, I don't know how I'd do that, or I probably will, I'll say it and not do it. It's very hard to actually put a goal out there that really matters to you, that you really connect with, because you're not really believing it. So you're like, I want to make $1 million, because you don't think you're going to do it anyway. So you just throw something out there. So what are some of the tips that you would give people, to getting more clear, and also to setting an appropriate goal? You never want people to sort of think too small, but at the same time, sometimes when people don't think they can do something, they just sort of say anything.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's very true what you're saying. I'll give you an example of exactly what you're talking about. I was speaking at a seminar in Los Angeles for 1,000 entrepreneurs. These are 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, very, very successful people. And I was talking about exactly what we're talking about right now, and walking through the process. And so I was walking off the stage, and a man came up to me out of the audience, and he said to me, Noah, I want you to be my coach. You are the coach I've been looking for. Now, I didn't know this man from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. True story. And so I said, okay, what's going on? He said, Noah, I own this company, and we're doing well. We're doing 7 figures right now, but we have been stuck at the same level for the past 4 years. For 4 years, we've been plateaued. And he said, I've thrown all this money at the problem. I've hired every marketing guru out there. He named all the gurus. And he said, we just can't break through that income ceiling. And he said, as soon as I heard you speak about inner game and outer game and head trash and everything you just talked about and power habits, he said, I knew that you were the coach I've been looking for. So he said, I want to hire you. So that's why I love working with high achievers, right? Because they make decisions quickly and firmly. They don't dilly-dally. They don't mess around. They're just like, let's do it. And they decide quickly and firmly. So he literally hired me on the spot. And I coached him for 18 months. And in that 18 months, do you know that we installed my power habit system, and his company went from being stuck, plateaued at 7 figures for the previous 4 years, to over 20 million in sales. And yes, there it is. That's one of my audio programs with Nightingale Conant called the Power Habit System. Exactly. So really, that's an example of how even people who are doing well. Remember, he was at 7 figures,
right?
And he was still holding himself back. So if you're listening to this program and you're thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not making $1 million. It doesn't matter. I've had people come up to me at my seminars and say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $40,000 a month. A year. I've also had people say, no, I'm stuck. I'm only making $400,000 a year. And I've had other people say, no, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $4 million a year. You see what I mean? Yeah. So it really doesn't matter. I mean, one of my coaching clients right now runs a 9-figure business. That's over $100 million business. That's got a lot of zeros in it, right? A 9-figure business. And he hired me because he knew that he was holding himself back. So, I mean, my gosh, if people, with a 9-figure business realize they need help, that means that I think we can all use that type of coaching, that type of mentorship, right? To make sure that you're installing the proper system so that we get you to where you want to go much, much faster than working on your own.
Yeah, and there's just different up-leveled head trash that is going on in these people's minds than might be going on in someone making less money. But it's sort of the same concept. Yeah. So, well, let's talk about power habits, because, of course, that's a very, very intriguing and powerful title. Now, you're not talking about discipline. That's one of the things that I think I think you don't care for that word. And so let's talk about discipline for a minute. Is that what it's about, or something else?
Well, that's a very great question. I love that. And here's how I answer that question when people ask me that. So the word that is the most misused word in this entire self-help industry is willpower. Okay. That's the most misused word, is willpower. And what is willpower? Okay, so let's look at what willpower is. Let's look at what it isn't, and let's look at how it's been taught and why you don't really want to use willpower. Okay, so what willpower is basically, in fact, let me give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example of what willpower is. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you're in your home right now. Everybody listening can do this. Just do imagination exercise with me. So imagine you're in your home, and all of a sudden, you walk into the kitchen. Now, somebody, whether it's your spouse or your kid or whatever, somebody just made a brand new fresh batch of chocolate chip cookies. All right. And you can smell the chocolate chip cookies and you're like, ooh, boy, does that smell good? And you're like, your mouth starts watering, like, oh boy, I can taste them now, right? And you're like, oh boy, this sounds great. I can't wait, right? And then they put the plate of chocolate chip cookies on the kitchen, table or on the there you go, on the kitchen table or on the counter. And then they say to you, okay, now I just baked those chocolate chip cookies, but they're not for you. All right. So you can't have any chocolate chip cookies. So whatever you do not eat a chocolate chip cookie. Don't eat one of these cookies. All right, now I have to go, but don't eat a cookie. Now they leave the room. Now what are you going to do? You're going to be like Cookie Monster. You're going to eat 12 chocolate chip cookies, right? That's what willpower is like. Willpower is like you saying to you, hey, don't have a chocolate chip cookie. I want a chocolate chip cookie. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? Willpower, and I'm not saying willpower is wrong or bad. That's not what I mean. I'm saying that willpower is like a muscle that is very weak, right? It's like you're a 98-pound weakling trying to bench press 400 pounds. It's not going to happen, right? Yeah. So it's a very weak muscle. And yet that's what the gurus are telling us to do. Hey, if you don't have your goals, just use willpower and, hustle and grind and make sure you get up at 4 in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God, really? That sounds awful. I don't know about you, but that sounds terrible. That's not the life I live or want to live.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the main problem with willpower. It's just a weak muscle that really doesn't get the job done. All right. So how does my power habit system differ from that? All right. Because that's really what you're asking is how is this different?
Yeah.
And the very simple answer is that because willpower is a weak muscle, what we want to do instead is install these unconscious habits of highly successful people, thereby eliminating the need to use willpower at all. All right.
Okay.
So another example would be like, again, I've written 25 books. Most people would say, wow, no, you must have a lot of willpower to do that. I'm like, let me ask you a question. All right. You're asking me, I'm going to flip it back on you. Do you have to have willpower to do something that you really love? Of course not. You love it. So it's hard to tear you away from it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's how I feel about writing. That's how I feel about a lot of things, right? Just like you feel about it. And everybody, there you go. There's my pile of books. Actually, I think I've had a few books published since that picture was taken. But anyway, thank you. Thanks for putting that up. But yeah, I'm in 18 languages right now. So again, see, I love it, right? So what do you love? If you love something, you don't need willpower to do it.
Yeah.
You got to be torn away from it. All right. So that's what we're installing. That's an example of what we're going to be installing using my power habit system. So again, going back to highly successful people, what they're doing is these unconscious habits that they don't even realize they're doing, and therefore they can never teach it to you. So this is very interesting because whenever we humans want to master a new habit or a new skill, we actually go through 4 stages of competency in order to master that habit or that skill. The first stage is unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know. The second stage is conscious incompetence. That means you don't know. The third stage is conscious competence, which is you know. And then the final stage is unconscious competence, which means you do without thinking, without conscious thought. Right. So the example I always like to give to my clients or as a keynote speaker, right? As a keynote speaker, I get to do presentations, whether live or virtually, for companies, teams, organizations all around the country, around the world. And one of the things I'll say to my audience members is, how many people here know how to drive a car? And of course, pretty much all the hands go up. And I say, do you realize that you actually had to go through those 4 stages that I just mentioned in order to do this thing called drive a car? And they go, what do you mean? I say, well, the first stage is you didn't know how to drive a car, right? Nobody comes out of the womb and says, hey, where's my car? you don't know, right?
Right.
And you get to a certain age and you're like, gee, I want to get away from my parents, and all I have is this bicycle, and I can't get far enough away from my parents on a bicycle. Man, I need to know how to drive a car. Ah, shoot, I don't know how to drive a car. So now I know I don't know how to do this thing, right? Then you get to the third stage, which is you learn how to drive a car. If you remember driver's ed, I remember for me, we were in a Buick that was about the size of a city block, right? It was like this huge, thing. There's so many things coming at you, and it's really hard, right? If we would have put your brain on a brain scan at that moment when you were learning how to drive a car, your brain would be like, just because there's a million things coming at you, right? And it's all new, it's all different. And so, but today, fast forward to today, and of course, for most people listening to this program or people in my audiences, they'll say, well, of course I do it, and I don't even think about it. So that's the point. And so what I realized over many, many, many years of study and trial and error and, coaching people and helping people and so forth, I realized that highly successful people have actually gone through those 4 stages when it comes to allowing yourself to succeed. All right. So what they have developed is what I call the unconscious habits of allowing yourself to succeed. Now, I'm saying that on purpose. It's not about how to succeed. It's about how to let yourself succeed. In fact, the title of my very first book, which you can see here right behind my head, was called Permission to Succeed, because that was one of my epiphanies, one of my aha moments that led to all the work that I've been doing over the subsequent 3 decades that I've been helping people. And that is, most people actually know how to succeed, but what no one has ever helped them with is to give themselves permission to succeed, to actually allow yourself to succeed. So going back to Tamisa and Adam and, those examples I talked about a moment ago, that was one of the things that I helped them with, was actually to give themselves permission to succeed. That you can, there they are. There's some of my clients, right? That's our VIP experience that we have. They have been unconsciously, unknowingly holding themselves back from success. Now, what I want people to realize real quick is that nobody does this on purpose, right? No one on planet Earth is holding themselves back from success on purpose, right? That would be like waking up in the morning and saying, wow, this looks like a beautiful day. Oh, man, the sun is shining. The birds are singing. Looks like a great day. You know what? I think I'll hold myself back from success today.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no one would ever do that, right? That's insane, because what's that? That's a conscious thought. So all the things that I'm talking about, all the things that I help people with, and all the, the power habits that I help people to install are all on the subconscious. That means that once we go from the subconscious reasons that you're holding yourself back, that you're not aware of, you're not doing this on purpose, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter, because you're still holding yourself back. And that's why when we get rid of your head trash, particularly about money, that's when we can really skyrocket you.
Wow. Okay. I love that. Thank you. So is the head trash, is it just the stuff that we say to ourselves about money or about, whatever it is? Because as you said, it could be anything that is, and everything is a ripple effect. So if your financial life is causing you a lot of upset, it's going to ripple through your relationships, your health, whatever.
Definitely.
It's all interrelated.
Definitely.
So, is it just words we're saying to ourselves so we can just sort of cancel that and say new words, or does it, you've written a book on it, so I have a feeling it goes beyond that, but.
Well, if words were enough, then we could just say, and I use this example all the time in my coaching and in my keynote speeches. If words were enough, we could just say, I want a new house, and a new house appears. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. That's what they taught us in movies like The Secret, and there's a lot of, manifestation people out there that teach that, hey, all I have to do is think about money, and money automatically falls in from the sky. And I'm like, really? What planet is that on? Because I'm moving to that planet tomorrow. On planet Earth, we have to do this annoying thing called take action if we want to have a result, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, whether it's better health. Imagine if I was talking to my wife and all I did was, criticize her and put her down and all that. Do you think I'd have a happy marriage? I don't think so, right? It doesn't work that way. Or if I put bad food in my body, would I be in great shape? I don't think so. Right. So it's exactly the same with money. So, like you said in your opening, we have a relationship with money that has to be attended to, just like our relationships with our loved ones and our relationship with our physical body. So money is exactly like that. So words are certainly part of it. But frankly, I'd rather have someone take action rather than say words. If you had to choose, take action, right? It's all about the actions that we take. I'll give you another quick example. All right. So I was talking with another one of my clients. His name's Charles. And I said, Charles, and this is, again, something I ask all of my coaching clients, whether one-on-one or group coaching. And I said, so Charles, I'm just curious. And he'd been reading my books. You know, he was familiar with my work, watching my videos on YouTube. So he understood what makes me different. And I'm not the same as all those other guys. And, you know, that I really help people get results very, very quickly and very powerfully. And so I said, Charles, how much do you think your head trash is costing you right now? And without batting an eye, he said $1 million. He said, Noah, if I don't get rid of this head trash like you teach, it's easily going to cost me $1 million this year. And so I said, I tell you what, why don't you just give me 10% of that million and I'll find you $1 million this year. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, yeah, that's a good deal. So he decided to do that. He decided to invest in coaching with me, paid me $100K. That's 10% of $1 million, right? So he did that. That's why I love working with high achievers. He just did it. He's like, let's go, let's do this. And so I coached him and he was a great client, you know, did everything I told him to do, just, you know, was really, really good, just going through the whole system. And as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in 10 months.
Wow.
So he gave me $1 and I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal. And he actually took a 7-week vacation with his wife, which is something he told me he dreamed of doing for years, but he never had the time or the money. So he took 7 weeks off, drove across the country with his wife. And he said, you know, Noah, this really changed my life. And, you know, that's an example of how your head trash can be costing you right now and you're not even aware of it.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot to this, and there, you know, it's something that, I loved what you said about how you don't need any willpower to do things you love, because I feel that way with money too. We avoid it so much, and we think that, you know, it's like a sort of a terrible part of our life that we have to deal with. But if we adopt that same attitude and we spend regular time and we build habits around money and we take action and we see results, it does become something that people enjoy. You know, it can be something that you look forward to sitting down and spending time, you know, doing a variety of things with managing your money. So I feel like just because you don't already necessarily love something, you know, maybe there is something in your life that you don't love right now, but by taking action, by thinking about it differently, by eliminating some of these negative beliefs, you can start to love even the things that, you know, maybe you're not used to paying attention to or enjoying. So just kind of wanted to attach this to money management, because I think it too can be something that you sort of learn to enjoy. Actually, my daughter just got a new job and is making more money, and she's be a giant spender, and especially when it was my money. But all of a sudden she's like, wow, I don't understand why people don't save more. Like, it's really fun. I'm really enjoying like not spending this newfound money. And so I was like, wow, have fun with money. So
well, that's really great. I love that example, Michelle. And you know, for the folks listening, I you know, to me, and this is one of the things I talk with my clients about all the time, which is money isn't money.
Yeah.
It is really more about choices. It's about options. See, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I know what it's like to not have any money, and that means you don't have any choices.
Right.
You don't have options. You don't have power. All right. And by power, I don't mean power over others. I mean the power to make your own decisions.
Right.
The power to choose the life you want. See, we didn't have that. And yet I saw that right down the street. You know, all of my friends, all of my classmates, you know, they came from wealthy families. My family was dirt poor. I mean that literally. We lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house, and my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15 years old. So, you know, growing up in poverty, I realized there's nothing good about being poor. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing spiritual. There's nothing good. It sucks, you know, and it sucks your energy. It sucks your time. It sucks your health. It sucks your well-being. So I really made a determination from a very young age that I wasn't going to be poor, but it was really, really, really hard because I had all this money head trash. Why do you think I wrote all these books?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote them for me first, and then hopefully other people will benefit as well. But really, so the point is that, it is about changing, evolving your relationship with money to realize that money isn't money. Mm-hmm. It's what money can do for you and for those that you love. Mm-hmm. That's, to me, the whole point here.
Right, right. Yeah, thank you for that clarification. And it's definitely not finite. I mean, there's plenty for everybody. And so, yeah, I love that. So in your program, the 12 weeks program, the breakthrough, I can't talk today for some reason. How do you do that? I mean, I'm sure people listening are thinking that sounds really cool, but wouldn't happen for me. So
right.
How do you do that?
Yes, the program is called the 12-Week Breakthrough because I'm known for helping people make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while actually winning your life back at the same time. So what I teach is the opposite of the hustle bros. We all know the hustle bros, right? Hustle and grind and get up at 4 a.m. and work 18 hours a day. And if you take Christmas Day off, you're a loser. And I'm like, dude, seriously, get a life, will you? So I'm the opposite of that. I'm like, no, you should have a business that works for you. Not that you are working in servitude for your business. That's where most entrepreneurs are.
Yeah.
Right. They're working hard for their business, whereas their business should be working hard for them. Right. So we flip the script on that. That's one of the things that makes me different. So what we do that's different is we take the inside out approach. So this is what we've been talking about today is all about inner game, right? Your inner game, everything that you can't see directly that's affecting everything that you do.
Yeah.
Now, I also help people on their outer game, which is, the offers, the funnels, the traffic, all of the marketing and sales stuff. But the point is that so many people have spent so much time, money, and effort on the outer game stuff, and they've really ignored or just no one has taken the time to show them how to master their inner game, right? Like Tamisa, like Adam, like Charles, all the people that I've been talking about. And so for the folks who are wanting to learn more, you can actually go to breakthroughwithnoah.com. Easy to remember. I'm known as the Breakthrough Coach. Breakthroughwithnoah.com. And there's like a 2-minute video that gives you a nice overview of what I do. And then you can actually schedule a 15-minute business evaluation there at breakthroughwithnoah.com. And either I or one of my coaches will get on a Zoom with you and we'll just walk through your business, see, where your number one bottleneck is, and then give you a 3-step plan to overcome that, in the next 12 weeks. And so really the way that I do that, help people make more in just 12 weeks they did in the previous 12 months. It really is. It's taking the inside out approach, starting with your inner game rather than trying to shove more marketing down your throat, which is what all those guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you've got enough of that. You've heard enough of that.
Right.
It's really about mastering your inner game, installing these systems, and boom, then the system does the work and the results follow.
Wow, thank you. It's so much about your mind, and
Yes.
it's really, really crucial that people understand that and start studying and learning, what exactly that means and how they can apply it to their life. So it sounds like your new book does that for people. And I can't wait to read it myself. And for the listeners, you can get that sendmeabooknoah.com. Did I say that right?
Yep, it's easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will send you a book. So the book, remember, the book is free. I've covered the cost of the book and just cover, if you just cover the shipping. So we ship anywhere on planet Earth, and easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com.
That's so great. And you have so many books. I mean, if somebody really needs help in this area, are there some others as well that you would recommend for people?
Yeah, if you go to my main website, which is noahstjohn.com, and then just click on the books, you can see a list of my most popular books, like my book of affirmations and power habits and 7-figure expert. So yeah, there's a lot there. Okay. But really, like I said a moment ago, if you really want some help with that, know you want to get on the fast track, really, I would recommend going to breakthroughwithnoah.com. Just schedule that business evaluation. You're just going to answer a few questions, and we'll look at your number one bottleneck and then give you a 3-step plan to overcome that. But really, if you want to read a book, I mean, I've got plenty that you can read. But if you want some help, some guidance, some mentorship, breakthroughwithnoah.com.
Okay. Well, Dr. Noah, thank you so much. This has been great. You're always so wise and full of great information. And so thank you. Thank you for writing yet another book. And thanks for coming on the show. It was really great. And I would really say to listeners, get in touch with Dr. Noah. He's opening the door for you to do that. That's a huge opportunity. And get your free book. So, all right. Well, great to see you. And listeners, great to have you here. We love having you follow and watch the Money and You show. If you would like to share with your friends, I bet you know some people who could really benefit from this episode. Please share it. Please rate and review the show. And we will look forward to seeing you next week.